All right. Hey, everybody. It's Bad Brad, and I thought we'd do a little shopping today. Now, here we are at Sweetwater. All right. And everybody knows that if you watch my channel, I put a Sweetwater link in the description. If there's anything you need to pick up, if you need to pick up any strings or anything like that, I am a Sweetwater affiliate, and anything you purchase will help the channel. But it got me to thinking, man. There's some really cool amps and stuff out there, and there's so much stuff on the market now. It's really an interesting time to live. Now, the venerable amp that everybody knows, the Blues Junior. Let's see what they're going for these days. Okay, here's a Fender Blues Junior 4. Okay, and you can get the basic black one for $749. That is an amp that you could definitely gig with, and would be, I think, reasonably enough loud. Now, if you're a metal player, and you like heavy scoop tones, obviously this amp is not for you. But look, man, if you were to have to put together a pedal board, and I've talked about this before on my channel, the cost of putting together a rig and all that, it can be pretty expensive. So, here we are, $749 for a tube amp. This is would probably say this is a entry level tube amp that you could use and get good sounds from, and a lot of people like those amps, and they're used a lot. But then you've got on the other spectrum of things, you've got a Boss Katana, right? And let's see what those are going for these days. So Boss Katana, I would say probably go for the 100-watt Gen 3. Here we've got a Boss Katana 100-watt Gen 3, right? And it's back ordered. Okay, so this is a very popular amp. And here's the reality of this. If you just spent $749 on the Blues Junior, you've got it. You've got a tube amp, and it's a good sounding amp, stock speaker, all that stuff. But, it can only do so much. You're going to need pedals. You're going to need delays. You're going to need reverbs. You might need some kind of modulation. There might be a lot of other added expenses. But you could get this Boss Katana, and I know there's going to be people in the comments that say, "It's digital, bro. It's digital." But look, man, there's plenty of videos on YouTube of people getting really good tones out of something like a Boss Katana. So, man, it's hard to argue with the price of this and the amount of value here. Now, how long is it going to last? Well, Boss stuff has a really good reputation for reliability. So, you know what? It's probably going to last a pretty long time, but, it's not something you're going to take to the repair shop once it does need a repair. It's probably toast at this point in time. The Blues Junior, on the other hand, you could take it to a repair shop. You could get it fixed. It could end up being something that you use a lot. But then, it got me to thinking, let's say you're just going to go direct, and you want an inexpensive, option. And I've used these on my channel a lot, but the Pod Express. And for what it does, here is the Pod Express. Now, I just sold mine on Reverb because I'm using something else. But man, I did a lot of videos just using this for tones. And if you look at what this does, I mean, you could very easily, a lot of the gigs now in Nashville, there's a whole side of the street. I've talked about this before on my channel. There's a whole side of the street where you can't use amps on stage. There's no live amps on stage. So, you know what? Throw this in your gig bag, set it up for a couple different tones, maybe get an additional foot switch, and boom, roll into the gig with your guitar, this, and an additional foot switch, and, you're good to go. So, here it is, $179. It's got all your effects. It's got your reverb. Now look, for me, this really, I could have probably just ran my channel on just using this, and not even, right now I'm using the Ampero Stomp too. So let's check that out. I think as far as modelers and stuff like that, let's see. Let's go to Ampero. As far as modelers go, and, bang for the buck, I think the Ampero stuff is right up there because it does have a touch screen, so which makes it a lot easier to, dial in your tones and stuff like that. And this is what I'm using, on this, more recent videos, and you hear me playing guitar and stuff like that. I'm using this Ampero 2 Stomp amp modeler and effects processor pedal. And, this has, a lot of good tones in it. And, I like to create my own tones. I don't like to just dial in presets. I never thought, most companies, the presets that you get, they're not that great. And, Ampero, it has some good presets, but man, I like to dial in my own tones. I've owned a lot of the different amps that are modeled in here. And so I know how to dial them in. I know which, effects I like to use and all that kind of stuff. And then I like to throw an analog drive in the front of something like this in case I want to boost the signals, the same way you would run an analog drive into a tube amp. In even high gain amps, people are always using a tube screamer or something like that in front of it. And I like to do the same thing with a modeler, but this is what I'm using on the channel. I like it. I like having the touch screen. I like being able to do that, but I also like being able to edit on my computer. And the Pod Express does have that feature now, but this has an even better interface on the computer, so I can see everything, see the chain, make little quick adjustments, play, and get great tones really quickly. And I think for the money, I think this is the best bang for the buck. Now, lately, something has really sparked my interest, the new Synergy stuff. Now, if I was playing live again, I think I would probably have to get this Synergy 20 IR. This seems like an almost perfect thing to have. Now, here is a package price with, it's $13.29. So this is like a small 20-watt head, and you can plug in different modules. And the beauty of this is this, man. And I saw Ben Eller talk about this on his channel, but if you got a country gig, or you've got a country gig, you can pull out the Z 38 module, or you can get the Bassman module, or if you got a hard rock gig, you could get the Friedman Brown Eye module, or the Soldano module, or if you really want to play some heavy, a 90s rock, you can plug in the triple rec module, and it comes with a clean channel, right? So you could have essentially 3 channels. You have your pristine clean, which is kind of what they have their clean channel set up. And it's got an IR out. So you could run this direct, to the PA and just run it that way, or record that way. And, but you could also bring and here's the thing, man, I almost feel like this would be a really cool combo amp. Putting one of these in a combo amp, the grab and go with the ability to record and all of that. The only thing I don't like about having a head and a cab is it's more trips to the car. But this, I tell you what, this is probably the most tempting thing that I want to, purchase. Having these tube modules and this tube power amp, and then being able to get that signal into my computer with the IRs and the structure, switch and all that. And the real question would be then, which modules would I want? And the Mesa 2C module looks really cool. I think you could get a lot of different tones out of that. The triple rectifier module, Tri-Rec, sounds incredible. All the demos that I've heard of that. But here's the one thing that I wonder about this, and I have not tried this amp head, so I don't know about it. I would love to demo it on my channel, Synergy, if you feel inclined. But I'm wondering about, would I need a noise gate for something like this? And the other thing is the benefits of a modular over something like this is the modular has your delays and has your reverbs. We're guitar players. We love reverb. We love delay. And I feel like I could almost gig with this with nothing else, but I'd be missing that reverb. So I'd have to bring another thing. Here's the thing. When you're playing gigs, you want to have the easiest to get in and out, man. It's one thing if you're a touring musician and you've got some help loading your gear and all that, and you just roll on stage and play through whatever you want. Well, then, hey, bring the 412 and bring the 100-watt heads. And, if your band can afford to do that, then great. But for most of us, man, we're having to lug our gear in and out of a venue. Now, this would be a really cool solution because you don't have to use a cab, and you could run direct out to the PA, have great tube tone, and I guess perhaps run your pedal board in it, or run a delay pedal or a reverb pedal in the effects loop, and that would be your solution. Easy grab and go rig. And I think, man, like I said, this is the one thing that has me like hovering over the add to cart. The fact that they're not in stock. I think they're going to sell a ton of these, because as a recording solution and all that, man, and here's the thing, I've got a Dr. Z right here. I've got a Fender Vibrolux reverb underneath it. Those are great sounding amps, and yeah, you can get some variances of tone, and you can plug pedals into the front of them and do different things, but I can't make that Dr. Z sound like a triple rectifier. I can't make that Vibrolux. Yeah, you can get a triple rectifier pedal and plug into it, but man, this really captures those sounds, man. I've heard all the demos of them, and it's pretty incredible what they can do with the technology. So, there's different ways to get tones. Now, there's one other thing that I was thinking about. Now, so you figure this is $13.29 with a module. That's a bundle price. So that's a deal. If you're going to buy one of these, this would probably be the place to go with this bundle deal, right? Because it's $9.99 for the Synergy head without a module, and it just has a clean channel. And, so you got to get a module. You got to get at least one, but man, you're probably want to have 3 or 4 of these modules. Once you have 3 or 4 of those, you're probably good. At least as far as amps go. So this is a way to get where you want to go, not have huge bulky tube heads. I mean, they take up a lot of space, man. I used to have a room with a whole wall like this was just tube amps and 412s. And, I gradually got rid of them, and even, taking them to a buddy's session over at his home studio. man, I would have to fill my car with all this gear and go. And it was a whole process, man. It's a lot to do. So I think this is a great product, but it got me to thinking. So this is $1329, right? What about the Friedman IRs? I mean, I feel like it's almost essentially the same product, except it's not as versatile, right? So let's see. If we go to, I went to amps, and the Friedman amps are incredible. I had a Friedman Brown Eye on the road, and it was amazing. So here's the Friedman IRX, and so for $499, this doesn't have a power amp, and but you could run this direct to the front of the house. It's got 2 channels, it's got IRs, it's got all of that. Now they've got the IRX, which is kind of like the Plexi and the Brown Eye kind of like thing, power amp simulation and all that. But they've also got the IRD, which is, I guess, based on a JTM 45. And then they've got the Jakey Lee IRJ. Let's put that in. The first 2 are both $499. But the Jakey Lee model, let's see if we get that to pull up. Yeah, that is $599. So maybe because it's a signature item, maybe that's why it's more. This one is sort of a clean Marshall sound, and then a JCM 800, hot rodded JCM 800 sort of thing. And this has a built-in tube screamer, so there is added value there. These are, $499 for the first 2, $599 for this. And this would be a great solution. I thought about having one of these. What if I bought one of these and used this with the Ampero Stomp for effects, and then used this for the amp tones? I mean, that would certainly be a killer solution. But here's the thing. These, you can dial in a lot of different tones with these, but once you buy it, it is what it is. Whereas with the Synergy, man, I can constantly be buying new modules and plug in new modules and essentially making it a different amp. I mean, they even have like a Dumble module. They have Bassman modules. They have Fender Deluxe modules. They've got all these different things. So, it's a lot to navigate when you're trying to put together a rig. And I'm talking from the amp side of things. Starting off with the Blues Junior, or going with a Boss Katana with all the little effects there and not spending a lot of money. Here's the thing: a Boss Katana is very light. Traveling with a modular to a gig is extremely light. Taking one of these Friedman IRs, with the Friedman IR, you're going to probably want to mount that on a pedal board, and it has some different pedals on there. So you could roll to the gig with a gig bag and your pedal board, in a bag. And that would be probably the way you would do that. But it's a lot of different situations to think about and a lot of different options, man. It's like, I think about, should I get one of these Friedman pedals? Should I get a Synergy? You know what? I'm gonna wait. I like to let people do the research and development out there, and maybe one of those Synergy heads will be, in my future. But for now, it's awful fun to just browse around and see what is available. So thanks everybody for watching. And if you need anything from Sweetwater, just hit the link in the description. Anything you buy helps the channel out greatly. Thanks so much for watching.